asked, can I teach my child to drive without a permit? What do you think? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about teaching those children to drive. In this video, we're going to talk about the legal rules related to parents teaching their child to drive with or without a permit. We're also going to talk about things that you can do to increase safety and some parenting considerations you may want to keep in mind as you are starting this driving journey. Can a parent legally teach their child to drive without a permit? When we're talking about the United States or federal law, there is not one law on the books that mentions whether a parent can teach their child to drive without a permit or whether it has to be with a permit. So as far as a federal law goes, you can kind of do whatever you think is best as a parent. As far as our Constitution goes and federally speaking, I think it's really good practice to say, listen, we're not going to be getting into the people's business at a local or closer level to the family. We're managing just the federal side of things. But what about the states? Now, states have different laws. They're the ones that generally talk about these laws related to driving, when a person can drive. Do they have to have a permit? How long does the permit have to be? What is the parent's involvement with the permit? Should the parent be doing driving hours with the child prior to getting the license or not? Does it have to be a certified driving instructor or not? I know that there are some states across the nation that actually allow parents to do all of the driver's training with their children. In fact, they can do everything except for the actual exam at the very end. So they can do the training, the driving hours, all of that. But most of those states also require for a student or a child to actually get a permit before that driving happens, even if it's going to be taught by the parent. However, that only in most states is applicable to public roadways. You're going to want to check in your own state, but most states have the law that you have to have a permit to drive on a public road. But if it's a private road, such as your own driveway, or it might be a parking lot at your place of business or something like that, so long as you don't actually go out onto the public roads, then actually the driving rules completely change. So just to be completely open, I started teaching my children to drive when they were very young. My husband and I like the idea of helping our children learn adult skills early. This helps increase their confidence. This also helps them emerge as a leader. They have more experiences to compare to, and so they lots of times are more wise. It gives them also more practice when it comes to driving, and there is data that does suggest that the more practice time a person has prior to getting their license, the less accidents that they will have after getting their license. So this has been researched. So why not start a little bit early? It used to be back in the day that if you worked in agriculture, your child was out there driving the trucks and the tractors as soon as they could touch the pedals, because the family needed to all work together to harvest that crop and get it all ready to take to market. So what can you do on your own piece of property? For most states, is you can do whatever you want. And if you want to teach your child to drive on your own piece of property, then that works. There are some states that say that even for teaching your child to drive, like operate big equipment like a tractor or something like that, even on your own property, you still have to get a type of a permit. Again, you'll want to check on that. If you are going to teach your child to drive before they are of the legal age to get a permit, just make sure that it's done in a place that is not a public roadway or is not going to get in the way of any other drivers. If you've subscribed to this channel already, then you know everything here is about the subject self-government. Well, this video is no different. When you learn or understand self-government, that means that you possess the knowledge of your own behaviors and you understand the cause and effect of any given situation. So that's two different things. That means that you understand cause and effect and you examine yourself on a regular basis to get the best outcomes possible. So when you're teaching your child to drive, don't just give them a list of things to do. That can be a little bit overwhelming, but teach them to examine themselves, examine their heart rate, their calmness, their body position. Teach them to examine what's going on in the car, to proactively look and plan for what they will do with that driving experience. Take it slow at first and let them get familiar with how the car works and how they work when they are in the car. And then, of course, be there with them when they're learning at the beginning so that they get the opportunity to go through those maybe heart-pounding moments where they try something new for the first time with somebody else there who can say, this is okay, you know, everyone does it this way, or that's a mistake a lot of people make at first, or something like that. Just really decrease the anxiety. I think a lot of parents make the mistake of increasing anxiety for their child when their child's starting to learn to drive. I think that they think if they make the child more afraid of dangers that could happen, then the child will be more careful with their driving. But actually, increased anxiety makes for bad problem solving behind the wheel. So the last thing you want to do is fill your child with all the scary stuff and then put them behind the wheel. It's true, we should learn the dangers, but mostly we should learn you can do this, it's okay. Mistakes can happen, but just talk to me about them or we'll help you alleviate mistakes here at the beginning. Don't worry, I'm not worried, you shouldn't be worried. So that calmness is huge. So parental self-government, parental calmness is going to pave the way for the driver to also have calmness. Now on this channel, I teach lots of different self-government skills. I'm going to talk about a couple of those skills right now that are going to be incredibly helpful with driving. One of those skills is following instructions. When a person follows instructions, they can look at the person, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, do the task immediately, and then check back. If a person can't do all 5 of those steps, they're not following an instruction from you. There needs to be good communication about the instruction. The person needs to be able to maintain calmness. So if you teach your child ahead of time how to follow instructions, and then you explain that as you're teaching them to drive, that you will be giving them certain instructions, it should help make them more successful. Another vital skill to driving is accepting no answers. We get no answers all the time when driving. Of course, there's the obvious ones like stop signs and traffic lights that give us a red light or a yellow light. Those are no's, right? Don't go anymore. I know there's the rare person who thinks that when they see that yellow light or the red light, that means just go really fast. But we need to teach our children that means stop, that means no. But there's other things that are no answers too. Somebody cuts you off in traffic, suddenly it's raining and you can't see as well around you. Maybe somebody's flashing you with their headlights as you're driving because you didn't know your brights were on. All of those things are criticisms or little no answers that you can get while driving down the road. Does your child already know how to accept a no answer and maintain calmness? If so, that's going to make it so they don't get really stressed out or maybe even get into some road rage type trauma while they're driving around. So what do you do to accept a no answer or criticism? You look at the person or the situation, such as somebody cutting you off in traffic. You keep a calm face, voice, and body. Then you say, okay, that happened, or you disagree appropriately. And laying on the horn, sticking your hands, doing gestures out the window is not disagreeing appropriately. Then the final step is you drop the subject. That means once that no answer happens, don't think about it anymore, just move on. Because if you start thinking about it too much, it will increase your stress, which will then make you a worse driver. There are so many more things about self-government that I could teach you that will probably help you with your relationship with your youth. And so I recommend going to my next video, which is a full-length class about the skills and principles of self-government, and it is called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. Click on the link to that video next. I'll see you there.